Hello and welcome back to the Avoid the Tyrewall podcast. So today I'm going to be doing a little Bahrain roundup slash kind of review. So initially, of all the liveries, I have to say the Ferrari is my favorite. I think it's stunning, it's beautiful, and yeah, it's just really cool and I really like it. Now, predictions wise, I think I think Max is going to win the title. Like he is insane. He's so good. He's so strong. Um yeah, the car looks insane. The car looks so fast. Literally within like I think 4 laps he got 6 second lead or 6 laps he got 4 second lead. I can't quite remember. But insane. But Alpine, it's not looking good for them. I cannot lie. Which is a shame because Pierre and Esteban are two good drivers. However, things are getting worse because Alpine's technical director has resigned, which it's not looking good for them. I cannot lie to you. Because obviously they qualified in 19th and 20th. Oh, and their head of aerodynamics have apparently resigned as well. But yeah, they qualified 19th and 20th, which, they shouldn't be that low. McLaren's originally they were looking a little bit iffy. Obviously, they did quite well in practice, but at the end of the day, that's just practice. But they were looking a little bit patchy, but in the race they seemed to do all right. They got points in the first race for the first time in since. So in 22 they didn't score any in the opening round. 23 they didn't score any in the opening round, but 2024 they did. Uh, Red Bull, obviously, I've already touched on this. Incredible. They're fast. Just, they're fast. That's all I can say. Ferrari. Now, I was watching, I can't remember which bit it was. I think it might have been qualifying. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But they seem to be ignoring their drivers. And like, one of the drivers said something, and then it was like, yeah, no. And we've obviously seen these issues before, but it's it's not looking stunning, let's say. And Haas, where has this pace come from? Haas seemed to be absolutely like a rocket ship, literally qualifying Nico Hulkenberg through to Q3. Insane. It was not expected in the slightest. But yeah, the actual F1 race. So it's the first time in all of history that every driver has finished the opening race, which I thought was really, really fun. But yeah, so obviously opening lap Stroll was spun around and Hulkenberg got front wing damage. Russell looks quite racy throughout, but Carlos, he's entering his villain era. He's in his villain arc. He obviously has been let go, let's say, from Ferrari at the end of this year because of Lewis Hamilton. But he just does not care, I think. And if we see a just not caring Carlos, are we going to see rejection of team orders? In the opening stages, Leclerc had a lot of lockups, which was interesting. And then Logan Sargent pulled on into a runoff on turn 4 on about lap 10. And I actually thought he DNF'd. And then he reappeared. And I was like, what? Then lap 11, Ferrari versus Ferrari. As I mentioned, Carlos Sainz does not give one because he, at the end of the day, has nothing to lose because he's lost his contract. His contract's done so. But could we see some tension building there? Because, on camera, Carlos and Charles appear really close. But obviously, it could be a facade. I'm not saying it is a facade, I'm saying it could be. So we could see some difference. Then Lewis Hamilton seemed to have issues, but then apparently he didn't actually have issues. So that was kind of confusing. And I've actually written some serious beef between the Ferrari boys because the tensions were bubbling over. It was actually mad. Carlos Sainz really showed his racecraft. That was like really good. And yeah, then Leclerc seemed to have balance issues. So I don't know if that's the official term, but basically when he was turning, his car was pulling to the right, or when he braked, his car was pulling to the right, which, isn't great. And then he told someone on the radio and he said, I think this is a quote, bleep, it's actually really dangerous, or something along those lines. And yeah, it wasn't looking too good. And then George Russell was also reporting issues as well. So the Mercedes, maybe they have something going on there. Toto Wolff did slightly look like he was losing the will to live. But obviously, we don't know what's happening at Mercedes. He's probably not best pleased that Lewis's ups and left, to be fair, because you thought you thought you got your loyalty and all that jazz. But obviously no, he's going to Ferrari. Um, and then Lewis Hamilton's seat broke, which would be extremely uncomfortable because the seats are so closely molded to the bodies. But I was just like, it's not going well for Lewis, is it? Like, honestly. And then Valtteri Bottas and his dodgy pit stop. Obviously, the unofficial record holder of the longest pit stop, but he just didn't have a great time. I didn't watch all the way to the end because I had to go do something. But yeah, obviously Max won. Congratulations, Max. And congratulations to Checo on P2 and Carlos on P3. But yeah, I mean, start as you mean to go on, I guess, because it's Max dominance is already quite evident. But F3, I was watching both the F2 and the F3. Browning looks incredibly strong, and then Boyer got a DNF and got a penalty, so it carried over, which is not great. And then on the feature race, Bogdanovic had an issue at the start, which was not great. It was a very strong field, though. I think F3 is insanely good, and all the drivers seem to be really, really good and able to compete with each other. So it's really, really close racing. So Dino Bogdanovic, as I mentioned, he's a Ferrari driver academy, which is really cool. But he improved a lot throughout the race. Like I think he went from dead last to P13, which is really good. Shows why he's been chosen as part of the Ferrari driver academy. The F2, Zane Maloney, take a bow because oh my God, he had an absolutely amazing weekend. But yeah, the feature race. So there was a bit of an incident between Hadjar and Fittipaldi where Hadjar got spun, apparently by Bortoletto, and Fittipaldi crashed into him. But then uh, Ollie Behrman also had issues, which the Prema boys, I do support Prema. I think they're incredible, but they did seem to have a couple of issues. And there was literally so many DNFs in the F2 feature race. Like literally, Fittipaldi, Hadjar, Correa, Cordeal, Crawford, Victor Martins, like literally 6 people DNF'd. Would you get that in F1? Probably not. No. Well, you have in the past, but not in current F1 with Max absolutely being on a flyer. But like there were safety cars everywhere and PHM I don't know if I said that right, but they were having issues throughout the weekend. And yeah, there was just safety cars everywhere. And Kimi Antonelli on lap 23 was really showing his talent. And then Invicta versus Invicta was madness because, they're two good drivers in the Invicta cars. Gabriel Bortoleto and Kush Maini, like they were insane. They were battling the whole weekend. The tires, though, there was a lot of focus on the tires. They seemed like super important because the race won the sprint race. Zach O'Sullivan was really struggling because I think he'd got the wrong, let's say, compound of tire on, like the wrong choice because ART were testing out both of the different tire types. And so he started falling back. He fought his way back to the front. But yeah, the tires just were mad and the degradation was also mad. But yeah, some of the liveries were a bit questionable. Obviously, I can't change liveries, but personal taste, I didn't really like a few of the liveries. They are going to remain anonymous though. But yeah, I've written Bortoletto and Zane Maloney, absolutely incredible. And also Paul Aron and Pepe Marti, who are both rookies, they did insane. And as a whole, yeah, it was brilliant. And so I will be watching F2 and I'll be trying to cover it a little bit more. I can't lie, I'm not going to watch F2, I don't think, when it's in Australia because it's at literally like 1 a.m. probably, and 6 a.m. for F1's bad enough, but literally 1 a.m. I could not, honestly. Um, oh yeah, and so I was going to do a little bit of a review on F1 romance novels on my TikTok. But the first one is Bloodstream by Emily Carter. So if you keep your eye out for that, I should be reviewing that very soon. But yeah, as a whole, I'm really looking forward to the F2 and F3 seasons because you've got so many insane drivers all fighting for one thing, which is a place in F1. IndyCar starts next week, or I suppose when this is posted, it'll probably be this week. But yeah, literally on the 10th of March, and I'm really looking forward to it. In IndyCar, I'm supporting Pato O'Ward. I absolutely adore Pato. I think he's so talented. I think he's brilliant. Yeah, and also the F1 Academy starts next week with it kicking off in Saudi Arabia alongside the Formula One. Now, I think it should be good. I'm not sure if it's being broadcast. I will look into that. But yeah, F1 Academy, I think it's really interesting. I think it's good to see up and coming women in motorsports. I will always stand for women in motorsports. I think, having initiatives such as F1 Academy are brilliant. Obviously, there's been a little bit of controversy surrounding some of the drivers and some of their beliefs slash things they've liked on Instagram. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the F1 Academy season. I'm looking forward to F2 in Saudi Arabia. I think that should be insane. And yeah, I bet Max probably will win the F1. Yeah, I think that's all. So thank you for watching this week's episode of the Avoid the Tyrewall podcast. See you next week. Bye.